Hey friends, Kevin Goehring here, your Sacramento, Stockton area Realtor and lender, here with this week's weekly real estate report. Now, if you had to guess, what do you suppose the number one request I get as a real estate agent is for a type of property? Now, you might be surprised to know that really the number one request is, hey Kevin, we would love to get a little bit of property out in the country somewhere, 2 to 10 acres, maybe a little fixer-upper, possibly a manufactured home. Really, my number one request is pretty much for that. Now, the problem with that is that it's secretly everybody's dream, apparently. And quite frankly, I don't blame them. It sounds kind of nice. So everybody kind of wants something like this. So that would mean that the demand is rather high for something like that, which by law of supply and demand kind of keeps the prices up. Now, aside from that, there are several problems involved with this. Number one, let's say, and a lot of people say, well, we just want to buy some land and then we're going to move a manufactured home onto it. Well, buying raw land is a whole nother animal of lending, and it requires higher down payment because the default will be higher because you're not living there. And if something would happen, it's usually the first thing people stop making a payment on because, hey, it's just bare land. We don't live there anyway, so go ahead and foreclose it. So bare land, difficult to finance. Number two, you get some bare land and you want to put a manufactured or even, we call them stick built at that point, or a regular house, then you're looking at a lot of infrastructure cost, sewer system, septic system, running electrical, getting your well dug, also expensive, creating the foundation if you're going to make a manufactured home. Then if you want to get a manufactured home, you got to go out, you get a shot for one of those, you have to finance that. Now you're looking at a lot of outside costs, cash costs. So you had the down payment for the land, you had all the cash costs for the infrastructure. Now you can have a down payment on your manufactured home. Or if you're going to do construction, you've got construction loan costs. Those are very expensive. Anyway, there's a big deterrent to doing this is the point I'm making, but there's a solution. I was actually rather surprised doing some research this week on this very thing, and I found a solution for those of you who've always dreamed of doing this. And the solution, now it's not as difficult by a long shot as the way I just said it. It's still, got some hoops to jump through, but in essence, there are loan products out there that will allow you to go out, shop for the land, get in contract for the land, get in contract for your manufactured home, contact and work with a contractor who will do the bringing out of the manufactured home, the infrastructure cost, bundle it all together with, get this, only a 3.5% down payment using an FHA loan. It is absolutely doable with very little cash out of pocket. Now, there's no free lunch, or there's always a catch to something, but the catch really isn't that bad with this. The catch is simply, it's a long process. You're talking about from the time that you find a property that you like and enter into that contract, about 120 days or more before you actually close on the loan. So you have to have a land seller willing to wait, get into contract and wait several months for their money, but it's completely doable. And I think that's fantastic news for anybody who's ever dreamed of doing this. You can do it. So now I did a little bit of research and what are the costs involved? How does it compare to just say going out and buying something? Well, it depends, of course, on the price of the property, where you're getting it. But if you were to spend, $160,000, $200,000 for a nice piece of property, you can get a manufactured home for another $200,000, depends on the size. Figure another 50 or so. What are we at? Less than 500,000, and you'd have a new home on some property. Not a bad deal, if you ask me. So anyway, I wanted to share that news with you, but let's talk about what's been happening in real estate the last week or two. So hey, taking a look at the chart, the thing that strikes me, a couple of things strike me. Let's talk right here about the gold line here, which has been in this slow downward trend. And it continues to march down slower. Now, I always tell my buyers, who want a great deal. In fact, usually the call is, Kevin, we want to buy a foreclosed home. Why specifically would you want a foreclosed home? Because we want a good deal. Okay, well, let's back up a little bit. Let me point out a couple of things. One, Everybody thinks that a foreclosure home is a good deal. Therefore, everybody wants to buy a foreclosed home. Therefore, supply and demand. Foreclosed homes actually sell for more than you would think. And two, banks are really good at making money, and they don't give these homes away. They work the system to try and get the absolute maximum dollar they can for foreclosed homes. That is a fact. Now, often you can get a foreclosed home less than the home next door simply because they're distressed. They're in pretty bad condition. That's a whole other thing. That's a fixer. But so back to my thing here. Wherever I was going with this. So talking about supply and demand, the gold line is going down. People want foreclosed homes. I completely lost my train of thought there. Okay, I remember where I was going with this. So I tell my folks, you want a good deal. It's not so much foreclosed homes that are going to be a good deal, but it's the rain. Believe it or not. Usually when it starts raining, we see a drop off in sales for some reason. Not for some reason. Usually it starts the holiday season. People back off from buying. Hey, now I'm going to focus on the holidays. Family, after the holidays, we'll get back to home shopping. Also, it's difficult to get out in the rain for some people. They don't want to get all wet. Your feet are wet. You're walking into homes, looking at homes, and they back off a little bit. So I always say, you want a good deal? Start shopping when the rain comes and it gets cold. Especially if you have vacant homes. You're walking into a vacant home that's 40 degrees inside. Does it get 40 degrees in California? Not often, but it can get cold. Anyway, so I expect to see a change in what's happening now that the rains are coming. So that's what's going on there. Now, looking at the blue line, interesting to note, I think this is about the longest straight line I have seen since I've been keeping records. Now, we can go back over here to this time frame over here. Was that 2 years ago, back in 19? We kind of have a bit of a flat line there that's not as long as this, but going back, you usually see a real steep drop off come about May or June. It's a definitive drop off. We just haven't seen that. I mean, here we are going all the way into almost November, and we're still holding strong, but the rains are starting right now. Same thing can be said about the green line. I mean, we normally don't see that happening. So, back again, May or June, we start to see that definitive drop down of the pending home sales. Now, of course, we go back here and we can look at what happened back in 2018. We held all the way until September, and then we had a significant drop off right at the end of October, beginning of November. But look, it's a very short period of time right there. Very short period of time. So, when can we expect to see this drop off of the available homes? Again, look to the past. We can see that it's about October, middle of October, end of October, which is usually about the start of the rainy season. Cause and effect? I think so. I really do. So that's kind of what's going on there. Sales just continue to be very, very high. If you look at historical, I mean, we don't really go above 900 sales, 900 homes sold per week. We're still above 700. So, sales are still up. That is causing, prices to be somewhat stable. But what I keep saying is I believe that's still the pent-up demand. And a lot of these sales are still in the sub 500. That's really where there's so much competition. We have so many buyers still waiting to get into a home under 500 that as soon as something is available, it is just snatched up. It's the upper end homes that are going to start seeing more of a slowdown much, much quicker. Let's talk about rates real quick, because rates have gone up for we'll say second week in a row. So 2 weeks ago, we're at 2.99. Now it went up to 3.05. Now we're at 3.09. A very, very small increase, really, from 3.05 to 3.09. But as rates go up, remember that the purchasing power of the buyer will go down. Or for those who are payment sensitive, and aren't we all, you are going to buy less of a home to keep your payment the same. So we really haven't seen enough of a rate increase, I think, to really see that, but it's definitely keeping prices in check, as opposed to if rates were going down, buyers would be going up in price, and that would be driving prices up. So that's what's happening this week. Hey, enjoy the rain. I always love it when it changes seasons. I think it's beautiful, and I'm glad that we're going to get some rain in the valley, but hope to see you guys here next week. Take care. Bye.